What's up, everyone? I'm here in Times Square, the crossroads of the world. But today, I'm going to give you some reasons why not to visit Times Square during New Year's Eve. Now, I'm not trying to dissuade you if you really want to come, but just keep these points in consideration because they are valid, and I want to make you aware of what you're getting yourself into if you visit. The first point I want to make is that it's expensive. Times Square is well known to be a tourist trap for most places here, and some tickets to see Times Square, especially in places like Olive Garden or the Knickerbocker Hotel, can range anywhere from $450 to $12,500. Now, the more expensive tickets, they should include some live entertainment and a view of the Times Square Ball. But for the Olive Garden, I was reading that the $450 ticket doesn't guarantee you access to see the ball drop. But it does include a complimentary buffet, open bar, and live entertainment, and a complimentary champagne toast at midnight. Another reason why not to visit Times Square on New Year's Eve, it's noisy. There's going to be a lot of music playing, a lot of entertainment celebrations, so if you don't do well with loud noises, I suggest you to get alternative plans. The other reason why I would suggest not to visit Times Square during New Year's Eve is that it is crowded. And even now, it's not New Year's Eve. This is a few days before New Year's Eve. It's already crowded. And with those crowds come pickpocketing. What happens on New Year's Eve is that the city will force you into these pens where you can't move for the entire duration you're there. And once you're here, you're kind of stuck because it's such a hassle to get around and make your way out once you're in there. And I've experienced it before where I've seen people, they really need to use the restroom while they're stuck in those pens. And what happens is, a lot of the people, they end up wearing diapers or they cover themselves with a blanket and they have to do their natural instincts on the street. And with all that crowding too comes with security. Security in Times Square on New Year's Eve is a big, big mess. They screen everybody, everyone's bags, everyone's belongings. You can't bring umbrellas in if it's raining, no large backpacks, no chairs, and it can get quite uncomfortable. And once you go through with all that security, you still have to make your way here. And if you don't come early enough, you're not going to get a view of the Times Square Ball. I'd say if you're not here by 6 p.m., you're not going to get a view of the ball. And the people who are really determined, they get here in the late morning or early afternoon to secure their spot. When Times Square New Year's Eve comes by and people are corralling these pens, none of these stores are going to be open. So you can't go shopping, you can't use the restrooms there. It's pretty bad. And even if you're not in Times Square directly, you're still going to get charged a lot if you attend a social event for New Year's Eve in New York. A lot of these bars and rooftop restaurants, they'll charge so much money for their events. I remember one time I thought I was getting a great deal on Groupon for a New Year's Eve party at a hotel. The ticket was like $40 and it only included the ground floor. Meanwhile, if you paid up for a more expensive ticket, you can go, hey.
How are you doing, AK?
I'm doing good.
This is my friend ActionKid.
Hey.
He's also a YouTuber.
What's up?
How's it going? Are you live?
I'm
No,
making
we're
a
just recording
video.
a video.
I'm making reasons why not to visit Times Square during New Year's Eve. Yeah.
All right, man. Enjoy.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Sifat from the NYC Walking Show. I plan to cover New Year's Eve with him this year. But like I was saying, the expensive hotel tickets, only that included access to the rooftop where there wasn't even a view of Times Square at all. It was just a more extravagant party room, and there was an extra fee if you want to sit. And if you don't like bright lights and advertisements, I'm sorry. Times Square is not for you.
What a show, guys. What a show.
Because you're pretty much in the center of it all. It's like the brightest place in New York. Also, what a lot of people tell me also is that Times Square isn't really authentic and doesn't really represent the real New York. And I hear it from a lot of my friends and family and people who have lived in New York for a while. They don't go to Times Square for New Year's Eve because they know how much of a tourist trap it is and how much security there is and all the inconveniences that come with it. No access to use the restrooms. I know a lot of people, they just spend New Year's Eve with their families inside in their homes or apartments, and they have fun that way. And especially when the weather's pretty bad, when it's cold out, snowing, raining, you don't want to be standing in Times Square for hours on end for the New Year's Eve ball drop. But despite all these points that I just listed, I still think Times Square is an amazing place to be for New Year's Eve. If you can deal with all those other inconveniences, you can pretty much deal with anything. Another thing that people don't think of when they come here is that once New Year's Eve passes and it's time for everybody to leave and go back to their hotels or their accommodations or homes, it gets really, really crowded here. I think it took an additional like 45 minutes just for me to get out of Times Square after midnight. Oh, one more thing I want to add about Times Square during New Year's is that you may not have good connection on your cell phone because there's so many people here. They're also going to be sharing the same bandwidth and phone towers. And right after midnight or before midnight, that's when everyone takes out their phones, starts sharing images and video and FaceTiming and making video chats, slowing up the network. So you're not going to be able to wish everybody that you want a Happy New Year until maybe an hour later. One more thing I want to add about security, because it came to my mind, is that if you think you can take the subway and go to one of these nearby stops very easily, you're in for a rude awakening because the city blocks off the exits once they get to a certain capacity. So stations like Times Square 42nd Street or 49th Street on the NRW or 50th Street on the 1 train, those are absolutely going to be the first stations to shut down and not allow anybody to exit, or the trains will just skip those stations. And I would suggest that you do not wait for the New Year's celebrations below 42nd Street, because you're not going to get a view of pretty much any of the festivities here. Here's what I mean, it's crowded and no one can really get past here. It's just a test for New Year's Eve, everybody. If you can get past this, you can deal with it. Make sure you know where all your belongings are when you're in a crowd like that. And also about Times Square being a tourist trap too, there are people who are going to take advantage of the fact that you don't know Times Square and try to part you with your money as best they can. And if you plan on driving into Times Square, you can definitely forget about that, because this entire area is going to be locked down and only available to pedestrians. Seventh Avenue and Broadway is going to be pedestrians only. You'll only be able to drive on 6th Avenue and 8th Avenue, which is a block away on either side. I'd also suggest, if you're visiting Times Square, try not to eat at many of these chain restaurants, because you can find them all across America. There are some great local options available in Restaurant Row or over here. In Hell's Kitchen. I would say for the most hassle-free experience for New Year's Eve, if you want to stay in Times Square, it'll be the Marriott Marquis Hotel, and you'll have to pay for the most expensive option, the $12,500 ticket.
She just kept walking in.
If you want to dine at Applebee's New Year's Eve, it's $799. Oh, that's the starting price. $799. The Knickerbocker Hotel, which is behind the Times Square Ball on 42nd Street, has tickets between $1,995 and $3,995. I'll show you where the Knickerbocker Hotel is. This is where the New Year's Eve ball drops, on top of the One Times Square building, which I had the opportunity to go up to today. This building's undergoing renovations. It's supposed to include an observation area, a museum, and some shops.
Second, Broadway.
Here's the 42nd Street Times Square subway station. One of the subway stations that is going to be guaranteed to be closed off from exiting very soon when capacity hits. What they'll do is they'll actually have it open, but only for transferring between subways. You just can't exit onto the street. Straight. So this right here is the Knickerbocker Hotel. The one whose ticket starts at $2,000 a person, going up to $4,000. And when you're here, there's the view you're gonna get. You might just get a view of the ball on its own, but not inside Times Square where all the celebrations are happening. Anyway, folks, I hope this video gives you an idea of what it's like to be or to visit Times Square during New Year's Eve. I still think if you really want to see it in person, I shouldn't dissuade you from doing so, but just be aware of all these facts that I listed. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And you can also watch my live stream of New Year's Eve, where I intend to be covering it. Bye, folks. Take care.